Okay, guys, here we go. So you guys know what my criteria is for ranking. Like I said, it's going to be fun, coolness factor, and how powerful they are and easy it is for them to get to level 60. Okay, so we're gonna start with Mage. Okay, obviously, yes, Frost Mage is gonna go S tier. Okay, Frost Mage is definitely an S tier. Also, again, it depends on whose hand the Mage is in. If you are somebody who likes to test AoE leveling and things like that, yeah, no. Chances are you're gonna die. Okay, in that case, I'd probably put your Frost Mage at like C tier. Okay, so, but if you play, you know, you don't have to play boring or anything, but just play like you have one life. You know, Frost, chances are you're going to get to 60. Unless, like, barring some really bad decisions, you're probably going to make it. Okay? Do you recommend meme gearing? No. I think meme gearing sucks. I like some plus healing for better men pet. And plus, oh, what do you mean by meme gearing? I thought you were talking about like where you like kind of trolling and you're wearing gear that just like really sucks, or gear that's like really like trying to make yourself super overpowered, and you know what I mean? I don't know what you mean by that. I like some plus healing for better men pet and plus spell hit for traps and feign death. I've never heard of that. Yeah, that would be meme gearing. Okay. Stuff that people don't tend to go for. I mean, if it works, I mean, there's a case to be made for a Retribution Paladin with super high spell power. You know, if it works. Are you doing fireworks tonight instead of tomorrow? No way that sound I hear are some dude. Yeah, I know, right? I was hearing some pops going on yesterday. I haven't really heard anything tonight, but then again, I am streaming, so at least nothing close to the house. Okay, fire, I'm going to say is A tier. Okay, and the reason why fire is A tier is because you're still, unless you're doing some sort of a challenge, you're still gonna have your frost armor and you're still gonna have your frost nova. Okay, you're still gonna have your, you know, fire ward, which is really smart. For instance, I don't recommend going and doing that quest in Red Ridge Mountains where you fight the what are those things called? Those dragonkin, whatever hell they're called. I don't recommend fighting those pre-level 20. Fight them at level 20 when you have fire ward, and they will literally do like no damage to you. It is the coolest thing in the world. You can kill them without them doing any damage. It's awesome. Okay, so fire, I say that's A tier, and the main reason why I say it's A tier and not B tier is because you're so damn cool if you're a fire mage. You look cool. The damage that you do is so awesome. It's just coolness factor. Fire is all about coolness factor. Okay, and it's super fun. Yeah, it's all about fun. You know, but then again, Frost is kind of fun too. I really like Blizzard. Not very mana efficient, but it's super fun to blow shit up. Okay. Arcane. Yeah. Leveling wise, I don't necessarily think it's C tier, because C tier is really bad. D tier is horrible. I'm going to say B tier on Arcane. I mean, people don't really do Arcane. Okay, so I'm just going to say, I'm going to put them at B tier. Okay, that's just my opinion on it. If you guys, people don't normally do it. It's not really that fun. I don't know, maybe it is fun. Arcane Blast or Arcane Explosion rather is what I was thinking about. It is kind of fun in dungeons. It really is. But then again, it's a really quick way to die. Okay, Paladin. 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 Prot Paladin and Retribution Paladin. Where's Retribution, guys? Oh, sorry, that's Prot Warrior. Prot Paladin and Ret and Holy. Ugh. Okay, there's a reason why I'm putting them all A tier. Okay, there's a reason why I'm putting them all A tier, because leveling as Holy is going to suck. Yes, you're going to make it to 60, but if you're not in a dungeon, it's going to be boring as shit. Okay, it's not going to be fun. Like I said, and it's not cool. There's nothing cool about leveling as a Holy Paladin. All right, that's the thing. So I'm dinging it a point because of lack of coolness factor and lack of fun. But it is to S tier when it comes to getting to 60. Okay? I'm really debating on putting... Okay, if we're talking about the journey, we're going to do the journey from 1 to 60. Okay, I'm gonna say Prot Paladin is S tier, and this is why. Tanking in a dungeon as a paladin is fun. It's just a blast. I love doing it. It's so much fun. I like doing it way more than tanking as a warrior. It's very, very useful. You shock the hell out of people when you actually know how to tank, and people are not used to a paladin being a tank. And Prot Paladin for dungeons is actually a very effective tank for leveling. It's not really until you get to 60 and you start doing raids that Paladin falls off. But like anything that you're doing, like Temple of Atalhakar, you can do Stratholme, and anything prior to that. With the Prot Paladin, no problem. You're gonna be fine. Zul'Farrak, no problem. Okay? Any of the other dungeons, you're gonna be fine. Okay? As long as the Paladin knows what they're doing, you're gonna be fine. Ret is A tier. The reason why I'm putting Ret A tier is because it's just not as fun. Okay? If it was more fun, I'd put it on S tier. Okay? It's just not that fun. Okay? Priest. Now, solo self-found, I'd put Priest Holy at A tier. But normal hardcore, Priest is gonna go S tier. Because the fact that you can run you can run each dungeon more than once, you're going to be running a lot more dungeons, which means there's going to be so much more useful, and you're going to have so much more fun in the leveling process, which is going to make the coolness factor and the fun of Priest skyrocket. And the usefulness and safety of a Holy Priest getting to 60 is there, dude. You're just like there. Okay, you're as long, barring really bad decisions, you're going to make it to 60. Okay? If Wreck Bombings was same as back in the day, Ret would be God. Yeah. Disc, I'm gonna say A tier, just because the fact that it's just not as fun. It's just not as fun, but very, very, very competent. Very competent. You'll make it. Okay. Shadow. See, Shadow I struggle with. Do I say A tier or B tier Shadow? Because B tier is still good. The problem is, I'm going to put Shadow as B tier. The reason why I put Shadow as B tier is because the problem with it is people are going to want a Warlock over you. People are going to want a mage over you. People are going to want a rogue over you. They'll take almost anything over you in a dungeon. Okay? And you're not going to heal. So there goes that, you know? And there's other classes that are more effective soloers than you. Coolness factor, you got it in spades. You're a freaking shadow priest. Okay? That's pretty damn cool. You're just not that exciting to anybody else. So because of that, I'm going to put Shadow at B tier. Okay? Let's go ahead and do Shaman next, okay? Shaman. Now, you guys know how I feel about Shaman. I think Shaman is a blast to play. That being said, I think Shaman is literally middle of the road. Like, I think Shaman is C plus to solid B tier. You know what? I'm going to say B to B minus tier when it comes to effectiveness in hardcore. However, the coolness factor and fun factor of Shaman, in my opinion, takes all three specs regardless of what you play. It doesn't matter what you play, you're going to have fun. Okay? It doesn't matter what you're going to play, you're going to have fun with Shaman, especially in dungeons. And your utility with your Tremor Totem is very helpful in Wailing Caverns. Okay? Well, you're not really able to make it into the prison in Stormwind, so your Tremor Totem is not going to be helpful for that boss. But Wailing Caverns, yeah, you need a Shaman in that dungeon because there's a serpents in there. I think it's called Deviant Dreadfangs or something like that do fear you. Shaman is SSS+++ tier because it's Horde only in Classic for the Horde. Grounding Totem is Bay. All right, so I'm gonna say because of coolness factor and straight up fun, Shaman is A tier all day long. Okay, doesn't matter how you play it. Enhancement, Elemental, Resto, you're gonna have a blast. It's so much fun. Okay, honestly, I would probably go. I would spec, if I was gonna play Shaman, I would spec Elemental into, Enhancement until I got probably about level 30, and then I would swap over to Resto for the rest of the way up, because Resto and Elemental share the same exact gear. You can still do very decent damage on your own, killing enemies in the world using your destructive spells and your gear, while still being able to heal any dungeon you want on a regular basis, and being a very effective healer as Resto. So, you know, there we go with that. Okay, Rogue. Rogue is a very, very good class in hardcore. Usefulness, coolness factor, fun factor, and safety. All of those things make Rogue very, very, very useful. Okay, and this is how I grade it. Combat S tier, Subtlety S tier, Assassination A tier. Okay, that's how I grade it. The reason why is because combat, especially if you're going to go a human, if you go combat, dual wield swords, human, you're so freaking set, dude. Especially once you hit level 40 and you run Razorfen Downs and you do the quest for Scarlet Monastery and you're dual wielding those swords, bro, you're set. Okay, and then even when you get higher, you do Mara Udon and you get your Thrash Blade, bro, forget about it. You're set. Okay, Subtlety is gonna give you that extra survivability, and coolness factor, it's a lot of fun. Okay, Assassination still really good, just not as cool as combat. Okay, Rogue is very high DPS, always fun, but severely overplayed. A minus. I don't say because you're overplayed that you get dinged on that. That just means that you're just great. It just means that you're a lot of fun, which is why people play you. The reason why everybody plays a warrior is not because it's so good in hardcore, it's because it's a freaking blast and it's a challenge. That's why they play warriors. So, you know, I'd probably do assassination A and subtlety B, but yeah, combat S. Too many rogues, hard to get into dungeons and raids. That's true, but we are talking about hardcore, so raids, I don't know many people that are going to choose something to play in hardcore based off of whether or not you can get into raids, because first you got to get to 60. Okay, and there's always, if you're worried about that, you can always take another class that's going to help you, you know, do raids a lot more effectively, and rogue can just be something that you do on the side when you want to have a blast, right? Welcome back, Lazy. Okay, so Ass is A tier all day long. Combat sub S tier, absolutely, in my opinion. Okay, let's go ahead and do Druid, guys. Let's do Druid. All right. Damn it. Oh god, I'm not gonna do a D tier, guys. Balance is probably gonna be the only one at C tier. I'm really trying to think about this. Balance is gonna be a C tier. Are you rating based on survivability? Very useful, no fun to play. Okay, these are for those of you guys who are just joining, my criteria is based off of coolness factor, fun, and not just like usefulness / how likely are you to get to end game. How likely are you to get to 60 on this class? Okay, so that being said, I'm gonna put balance at C tier. Okay, balance, unless you are very like you get really lucky on gear, you're just gonna be drinking all the time. Okay, and people are just not going to want to invite you to dungeons. They're just not going to want to. It's going to be one of those things like, guys, we may have to break up. You know, I've been looking for dungeon guys. I've been shouting everybody all day. We've been looking for like an hour and a half. You know, there's 4 of us and we're ready to freaking go to Zul'Farrak. I don't know what to do. Can you guys ask in your guilds? Can anybody join us? Nah, man, I asked. Nobody can join. Fuck, man. You get a whisper. You're like, hey, I'll go to Zul'Farrak. I'm a level 50 druid. What spec? Balance. Fuck. Guys, you guys want to take this level 50 balance druid? You know what, man? I gotta wake up at like 6 in the morning for work. How about we try tomorrow instead? I'm telling you, that's how it's gonna go 9 out of 10 times, dude. They're just not gonna want you, bro. They're just not gonna want you. Like, you're like the redheaded stepchild, dude. You know, you're kind of there, but you're like a stray dog. You're not the pug in the group. All right? Anywho, let's Druid Resto. Druid Resto, leveling as a Resto Druid. Ooh, that would be painful, but you're gonna get a lot of dungeon invites, guys. You're gonna get a lot of dungeon invites. Because of that, I'm gonna move it to B tier. Chances of you getting high level in like chance of you making it to 60, much higher in my opinion than balance. I just, you know, and people are going to pick you up all day long for dungeons. Okay. Actually, you know what's funny? People would take you as a balanced druid into dungeons to heal. They really would. Unless you're like the high level dungeons, then they're really going to care. You can heal pretty effectively as balance. I really think, because you'll have the gear for it. You'll have the gear for it. And that's the main thing that matters. Okay. So now we got 2 more. We got Feral Tank and Feral DPS. Feral Tank, I'm going to say A tier, and Feral DPS, I'm going to say A tier. Okay, I'm going to say both of these A tier. Okay, Feral Tank, people will pick you up all day long. You are not going to be a reason why somebody says they're not going to run the dungeon. It's not going to happen. Same thing with feral DPS. Nobody's going to say, oh, but there's a rogue searching, guys, or a hunter searching. Can we just pick up them instead of the freaking cat? Nobody's going to say that. They're more than fine to take you along anytime. So because of that, and I hear they're fun. I hear people like them. I definitely don't think that they're S tier. So I'm going to put them a solid A tier. Okay. Yeah, we need a tank. I'm more than happy to take a freaking a bear. I am more than happy to take a bear, dude. Shit, I'm the type of person that I'll roll in a dungeon with a hunter as a tank. I'm the type of hunter that would actually be willing to tank in a dungeon, based on my level, of course. I've offered. People are too scared. I've offered me and my gorilla to tank dungeons, and people won't do it. They're too scared. I don't know, dude. My gorilla is a freaking beast. All right. You just got to wait that 1 minute in between pulls. So you got to make your pulls worth it. Okay, let's go ahead and do warrior, guys. Never mind. I moved it down for, I'll explain why. Ooh. Yeah. This is hard to not put A tier. Fury is so hard to not put A tier, guys. The reason why, because Fury is fun AF. Fury is so much fun. Okay? Especially, again, just like I said with combat, if you go freaking dual wield sword human, dude, you're having a blast, man. It's so much fun. Okay, especially with like frost oils on your weapons, or if you're able to find an enchanter to enchant your weapons, or you use shadow oil on your weapons. Oh, so much fun, guys. So much fun. So Fury, actually, you know what's funny? I believe that you can use frost oil and an enchant on a weapon, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think that the frost oil, frost oil does not override an enchant. So you can use enchant and frost oil, enchant and shadow oil. I'm pretty darn sure about that. If you guys disagree, check me on that, please. But I really believe that you can. Okay, Fury and arms are fun. Okay, they're fun. You're obviously at risk because you don't have the ability to heal yourself. However, if you're careful with your build and you take, what's that ability, guys, in is it Fury? I think it's Fury. There's an ability in Fury, second or third tier down, that makes it Piercing Howl. Make sure you take Piercing Howl on your warrior. Okay, it's a very good ability for your warrior to be able to get away. All right, it's awesome. You howl and it slows all the enemies around you. If you see like you're fighting an enemy and two other enemies are on the way, Piercing Howl and start jumping backwards and backpedaling a little bit until you get a safe distance away from them so that they won't slow you, and turn around and run the hell away. And you'll be fine. Reset and do it again. Okay. It's all about how you gear yourself. Very competent warriors. Also, you might want to consider engineering. So how you play your warrior is really going to depend on how successful you are. Okay. Obviously, that's with every class. So I'm going to put them B tier. A lot of people put warriors at C tier or D tier. I'm not going to do that because I don't think that they're bad. I really don't. I think if you're decent at your class, you don't even have to be great. But if you're decent at your class and you're careful and they're just fun, you're going to have a blast. So play warrior if you want to. Prot, the survivability is much, much, much higher. That being said, and your usefulness in a dungeon is like there's no other tank than that a dungeon is gonna rather have than a prot warrior. That being said, prot gets A tier from me. Okay, let's go ahead and go hunter. Um, Beast Mastery is going to get S tier. Survival Hunter and Marksman Hunter, honestly, I'm just going to put B tier. Survival, in my opinion, is one of those that if you want to do a challenge where you do melee the whole way up, have a blast on survival. It's a lot of fun. Okay, but it's not gonna be as fun as a warrior, but it's still cool. You know, you're gonna put up some pretty decent numbers on your attacks. So you're gonna get Mongoose Bite, you know, pretty often. Raptor Strike, Mongoose Bite are gonna crit a lot more often. Your traps are gonna do more damage, stuff like that. It's cool, but you're the one that's gonna be tanking, not your pet. Your pet's not going to be able to keep threat off of you for more than like probably 20 to 25% of the fight. So because of that, and so much of your kit is just unusable in survival, I'm just gonna say B tier. Marksman is again endgame spec dungeons. Leveling, it's dangerous, man. You're gonna snatch threat off of your pet all day long. Okay, Beast Mastery S tier all day long. At the same time, it really depends on what your pet is. For some reason, people in hardcore love to use cats and boars. I don't get it. You're not playing on a regular PvE server. Cats and boars are not good for hardcore. They do not hold threat on multiple enemies. They're not good. A boar is good when, like, at low level, up to about like level 16, a boar is good. Why? Because it can instantly get from where you are to where the enemy is like that. And it's awesome for that. It makes it so you can pull faster. If you're just fighting one enemy at a time, a boar is perfectly fine. Their defense is good. Their damage is okay. Their instantaneous, you know, reach on the enemy is awesome. Okay. However, once you get to level 16, you're really going to want to get yourself a bird. Okay. You're going to want to get yourself one of those birds in Westfall, whether you're a Horde or Alliance. Grab yourself a bird with Screech. Or you grab yourself a bat with Screech, okay, and use that, because with them they can hold threat on multiple enemies. At least you may not be able to multi-shot off of Screech, but at least you can heal off of, at least you can mend pet off of Screech. You may not be able to multi-shot, but you can mend pet off of Screech. Just make sure that you take off Bite. And you take off, I think it's Bite. I don't think they use, what's the other, it's not called Slash. What's the other one, babe? There's Bite, and what's the other one? Claw? Claw. I don't know if they have Claw and Bite. I can't remember. But what you want to do is you don't want to keep Bite or Claw on at all times. You want to keep Screech on at all times, and you want to click or bind Claw and or Bite, and use those periodically, but keep your Screech on at all times, because that's going to be your threat. That's going to help you, you know, hold area threat. Okay, so that's my recommendation. Obviously, in the 30s, get yourself a gorilla. You'll never have an issue again. Okay, that's just my opinion. Gear yourself the way you want. Okay, Warlock. Let me see. Affliction, Demo, and Destro, I'm gonna say are A tier. I don't think that they're S tier. Warlocks die very consistently in hardcore. A lot of people say Warlocks are easy mode, but they're really not. The numbers just say differently. Warlock is one of the highest death characters in classic hardcore in the community. If you look at who dies the most in classic hardcore, they have the numbers on the app, I believe. Warlocks are one of the most one of the classes in classic hardcore with the most deaths. Okay, if you snatch threat from your blueberry, you're pretty much, if you're fighting more than one enemy or something like that, I mean, hopefully it's down low enough, because your pet's not going to pick threat back up. You know, it's just not going to pick threat back up. It's really hard once you lose threat for them to regain threat. It's just tough. Yeah, you have the ability to fear and you have things like that, but when you do that, you run the risk of pulling extra enemies. As Hunter, once you go Gorilla, do you run that in Dungeon 2? Or is there a better dungeon? Oh, you know, obviously the best dungeon pet is going to be a cat. Yeah, absolutely. But honestly, in hardcore, I take that back. In hardcore, I would run it in dungeons. Why? Because if there's ever a situation where, like my last one that I ran, my last dungeon that I ran, I did a pool, guys, where I almost killed everybody in the dungeon. It was so scary because I pulled, like, by mistake, I pulled the entire room and I had no clue. If I had a tank who did that and I was a hunter, I would have immediately sent my freaking gorilla in and I would have thunderstomped all of the enemies, and it would have given us enough time to kill probably like 3 of the enemies before my gorilla died. Okay, and the gorilla would have died, and then the tank would have been able to take over, and then we would have been fine. Okay, so there's times where you can sub in and help out and save your group. Gorilla, I'm telling you, it's like a sleeper. It's a sleeper pet. It's legit. Oh, you won't hear the answer? Okay, I'll give it back. No more ads, LL. So 100 pet gorilla for world and what for dungeons? Yeah, like I said, I was going to say cat for dungeons, but I changed my mind and I said go ahead and use a gorilla for dungeons too, because the utility of being able to tank in a moment where the tank or somebody else overpulls is so beneficial to your team, to have that as a possibility. You know, you want to keep your growl off and you want to be very careful when you use Thunderstomp, but because your pet will get threat. You will snatch threat from a tank by using Thunderstomp. Okay, the Thunderstomp will generate more threat than a Thunderclap. It just will. It's a really great threat grabber. So it's good in those situations, okay? Thunderstomp is just that thready. Wow, no, it's awesome. It's amazing. Like, you guys saw that video just now. I think I did like 3 multi-shots, 3 or 4 multi-shots, and finally I was able to grab threat from my gorilla, and my gorilla wasn't even attacking those enemies. All he did was Thunderstomp, and the Thunderstomp itself held for 3 multi-shots. So that's my list. I think it's honestly beneficial. Let me go ahead real quick, guys.